All right, so let's keep talking about memory and more specifically about retrieval. And when we talk about retrieval, we are talking about how we pull those memories out of storage. How do we get them out? And why are some memories available to us and sometimes they aren't? So again, the definition for retrieval is basically how we get information out. And when we think about getting information out, we have to rely on retrieval cues. And those cues are the stimuli that help get memory out of long-term memory. We can't just do it on our own. Sometimes we need a little help, and that's the purpose of a retrieval cue, the stimuli that help get memory out of long-term memory. So in a lot of ways, it's like a Google search. Okay, we need some help to find the information or the memory. We may not know precisely what the information is, but we might know some key terms that we could put into a Google search that would help us to find what we're looking for. So every single one of our memories is somehow intertwined and connected to a number of other memories. There are a number of associations that we can make with one memory to another memory. And all of these associations, they're really like anchors that will help you to retrieve a memory. Sometimes if you're thinking about one thing, and then all of a sudden one memory will lead to your ability to recall another memory that might be somewhat connected, whether it's by a person or a moment in time. And these are all the beauties, really. This is the beauty of memory, and that they are all connected somehow. So when we are looking at retrieval, we need to understand that there are a number of different types of retrieval. There's a number of different ways that we can pull this information out of our memory. So the first example is what we call recognition. And you see this a lot. You've practiced this a lot. You've seen it in action. So recognition involves the person identifying one item among the others. So those clues or those cues, those retrieval cues, are actually those choices that you have on a multiple choice test. That's the best example of recognition as a type of retrieval. So if you look at the question here, name the capital of France, while that may seem like an easy question, it might be made even easier because you have a number of different choices. You have some cues and clues that will help guide you to the correct answer of Paris. Another type of retrieval is called recall. And with recall, the person must retrieve the information using effort. You aren't going to get any clues. It's going to require you to directly pull and retrieve that information from your memory. So a fill-in-the-blank test or an essay test would be an example of recall. So in this example here, the capital of France is, and then you would have to fill in the blank. No clues, no help, no Google. So which is it? Is it recall or recognition? If I ask you to name all the 50 states in the United States, is that an example of recall or recognition? If I were to ask you the name of your psychology teacher, please, really, is this an example of recall or recognition? So two types of retrieval. So let's keep going looking at retrieval, and we need to understand what relearning is. And it's really just what it sounds like. So with relearning, the individual shows how much time or effort is saved when learning material for a second time. So the first go round as you're studying information, this list of words here, it took you 10 times to look over the list and practice that list to get it. And then you come back to the information the second day. And the second day, it only took you 5 times to learn the list. And so what it shows is that relearning becomes much easier, and you save time and you save effort if you can relearn material on a subsequent day or time. All right, here's a picture here. And I would like for you to write the word bear. Yes, write it on your paper. Write the word bear. Okay, so what I just did was what we call priming. And priming, a retrieval term, is the activation, sometimes unconsciously, of particular associations in memory. So going back to the picture of the bear, my guess is that the word that you wrote down was spelled B-E-A-R, bear. Not incorrect, but that wasn't the bear that I was hoping you would write down. So I unconsciously activated a memory in your brain by showing you the picture of the bear. What you could have written was B-A-R-E, bear. It's the same word, but I primed you with the picture of the bear. So now you can see where this is going, and you see the picture here of a rabbit. And now I would like for you to write the word hare. Which one are you going to write? Now that you know what priming is done without your awareness. So this photograph here is a picture of a hare, H-A-R-E, even though some of you may have written H-A-I-R for hare. You could have done that too. So priming is a retrieval component. So let's talk about something called context effects. Did you know that scuba divers actually recalled more words underwater if they learned the words underwater? And that is a context effect. They recalled more words on land if they learned the words on land. What is the context that you learned something in? So think about your own study habits. Where did you do your studying? So according to this research, it would lean to the fact that you will recall more information in the same context or situation that you learned it in. So if this is true, where should you be studying for your next AP Psych test? Probably in the same context environment that you're going to be taking that test. So with context effects, the more closely the retrieval cues match the form in which the information was encoded, the better the information will be remembered. Déjà vu, something that we've all experienced before. And that is exactly what déjà vu is. It's that feeling that you've experienced this before. How does it happen? It's a mystery of psychology. But what is believed to be true about déjà vu is that they are cues from the current situation, much like the context. And that context may unconsciously trigger retrieval of an earlier similar experience. So granted, it might not be exactly the same experience, but it sure feels like it. I've experienced this before. Déjà vu. Mood congruent memory is the tendency to recall experiences that are consistent with your current mood. So when you are feeling good, and you're happy, you're in a good mood, what kind of memories will you remember when you're in a good mood? You're going to remember happy memories, positive memories. And the same will go for being in a sad mood. If you're in a sad mood, it's much easier to focus on the negative parts of your life. So your emotions and your moods can serve as retrieval cues. And the last retrieval cue is what we call tip of the tongue phenomenon. And we've all experienced it, some of us more than others, but tip of the tongue is really a recall or a retrieval failure. You're searching and what is the word? And oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's the inability to recall a word or an idea while knowing it is in your memory. And very often it has to do with name recognition or coming up with a familiar object. And why does it happen? What happens with tip of the tongue? There's probably some type of interference during recall. And it could be a poor match between the cues that you're being given and how you encoded that information. So you might remember the tip of the tongue activity that we did with the TV theme songs. Or if I were to ask you if you could name the 7 dwarfs, could you do that? Could you rattle off and name all of the 7 dwarfs? You might struggle when you get to number 5, 6, and 7. So there you go. The screen is black. We must be done.